Welcome back to Inside the Audition, the podcast that helps actors master the art and science of audition so you can stand out for all the right reasons and book your next lead role. I am your host, Joey Freddy Larson. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at Joey Freddy Larson. You can slip into the DMs, you can ask a question, suggest a topic for an upcoming episode, or apply to be our next guest. In every episode, you know that we dive deep into audition experience, advice, strategies, industry insights, inspiring stories from actors, directors, producers, casting directors, film and theater industry pros. So whether you're an emerging actor or you're a longtime seasoned pro, Inside the Audition is your backstage pass to audition success. And remember that Inside the Audition is sponsored by the Monologue of the Month Club, your step-by-step program for actors who want to attract agents, casting directors, and land your next lead role. How does it work? Every month, you'll choose your new made-for-you monologue from our curated monologue vault delivered straight to your inbox. Then you can join live monologue jams and workshops, get professional coaching, personalized feedback, and collaborate with an international community of growth-minded actors. Every month, you'll get to create a new polished monologue so that you can showcase your talent and attract agents, casting directors, audience. The Monologue of the Month Club is your golden ticket to your next lead role, and you can start that journey on your monologue mastery road. Head over to monologueclub.com and join the Monologue of the Month Club. Now, today's guest, this is a very special episode. You definitely want to listen to this one. It's a little different, but I think this might be, I'm going to go ahead and say it, this might be the most valuable episode you've ever listened to, because today's guest is going to help you break the inner blocks, keeping you from bigger roles, keeping you from more income, and keeping you from being seen. She's a former Olympic athlete, therapist turned speaker, podcaster, and go-to mindset expert, working with 6, 7, and 8-figure conscious visionaries, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, experts. She blends techniques and concepts like spirituality, universal laws, neuroscience, subconscious programming, quantum physics, and high performance to help them get out of their own way, bust through their income and impact plateaus, release emotional turmoil and stuckness so that you can perform at a higher level and become unfuckwithable. You'll get to unlock, unleash, and optimize your life. So excited for this guest. Please welcome Danya Douglas Hunt.
Thank you so much. What an intro. Hello. Pump me
Hello.
up.
Hello. Yes.
Joey.
Yes. Great to
I'm
see
so
you.
excited to be here.
Yeah, this has been a long
Yeah.
time coming. We've known each other now for maybe a little over a year, and I feel like
Yeah.
6 months, a year ago, we planted the seed about doing this, and finally we've connected your busy schedule with my busy schedule. And for those people that don't know, I met you through James Wedmore's Business by Design Next Level coaching program. We've been
Yeah.
doing some episodes about James and about his training, Rise of the Digital CEO. But for those people that don't know you, and before I even ask you this, I'll just tell you, you have a gift, a powerful gift. I've seen you on so many coaching calls where you have an ability to really lift people up, to change their mind. People can come in and they're lost, struggling, stuck, and by the end of the call, it's like a weight has been lifted, and they're clear and they're more powerful. So you really do have a gift, and that gift has helped me. You're also the host of the podcast Play Bigger. So go listen to that. I listen to that sometimes at the beginning of the day, the end of my day, and it changes my days. So thank you for all that. But please tell
Good.
people, how did you get to where you are today? Tell us a little bit about your journey to your work today.
Yeah, I will say I did not realize this was a path or journey when I first started out. I'll keep it short. You let me know what you want to expand on. I find when I share it, the pivoting part can really scare people or like, what do you mean? So it started off with I was an athlete growing up as an athlete, and back then I didn't question things as much as I knew to. Not that I was like just going with the flow, but it was just that classic narrative like go to school, get a degree, get a job, bop bop bop, and just like societal programming, do this. And now it served me so well. But my first career was with Olympic athletes, and I had the privilege of getting to work with them right out of college. I earned that job. People are like, you just it's something a job you'd get maybe if you had 10 years plus experience. But with my knowledge and my skills and my expertise and just the perfect timing of things, it just worked out. So I started off with Olympic swimmers and then worked with triathletes, para triathletes. I worked with Rugby Canada. I worked with diving. And my main role with that was helping them achieve physical autonomy. So anything to do with performance. They already are at the top of their game. I'm just helping fine tune, tweak, make sure that they're setting themselves up for success, not injury. And that was my whole degree career working with athletes. But then I noticed something, no matter what level of athlete you are, the one thing that would really impact them the most was not their physicality. At that level, they're all the top, top, top. Even the developing athletes coming forward, like you have the whole team around you. You have multiple physiotherapists, chiros, athletic therapists, strength conditioning, nutrition, psychology. Like you have the 3D stuff around you to help you. But what I noticed was when I had an athlete with an injury, let's take an ACL injury, a knee injury, when you have surgery on that and you come back, the actual action and strategy is very simple. I was going to say, can I swear? But you used my word
Sure. Yeah,
unfuckable,
go
so we're
for it.
swearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's explicit now. So I notice in that though, and of course, when you're working with athletes, you develop a very, very intimate relationship with them. Like you're seeing them at their best and their worst. They're coming to you when they're in their most fragile state, injured, and you're helping them get back on the field or on the diving board. I noticed though, like the rehab part's easy. Okay, post surgery, great. Let's follow the plan. Let's tweak the plan. Let's take the action strategy again. And this is where I find most high level entrepreneurs or actors, whatever domain you're in, the action part's pretty easy. You know how to do that. And the thing that would differentiate those who either medaled or didn't medal, or those who made the Olympic team or didn't make the Olympic team, wasn't physicality at the top level. Very rarely. It was more to do with how they manage their mind and nervous system, their fear, their how do I trust my knee getting back on the field and tackling again when I just went through this traumatic injury and like now I'm hesitating. I'm not going to tackle with my full body. I'm second guessing things, and then that second guessing is the thing that we would call self sabotage, which is just a made up concept, but something we can understand as a label. I hate labels, but you need to use them to help communicate certain things. But it's those moments of what is that fear, that second guessing, the nervous system, where someone who is making Olympic qualifying times in the swimming pool, and then when they get to the actual Olympic qualifier, they're bombing. It's not the physicality. It is somewhat because your physiology is going into fight or flight, so you're dumping resources for that versus being effective in performance. But I got really fascinated with like, what is that? In the gym, someone you can give them here's the training plan, but they don't do it. And so that curiosity and the desire to want to help more people worldwide led me to taking different programs and understandings around neuroscience and subconscious mind and all the stuff and diving deeper into spirituality, universal laws. And then it was actually James Wedmore. I don't know how many years ago it was. I want to say maybe 5. Crazy. Time flies. Where he posted, I'm hosting more coaches who want to come and be part of the coaching program, training coaching and whatnot. And then I applied. And I applied for shits and giggles because at this point I was building out my whole online world where I filmed like, we're talking almost thousands. No, not talking thousands of videos. I actually met James learning YouTube, the white, like filming YouTube properly and cutting it. And I had the setup in my condo or house at the time. So I was like building everything towards that direction. My whole identity was sport. Everyone knew me as this Olympic therapist. I'm going to help people with their back pain and then I joined James's program and I'm going through coaching and I'm like, whoa, I don't actually want to do this. Like, and I was trying everything to make this work. Like I'm taking the right action. I'm doing the right strategies. I have the experience, expertise. Like, what is this? I was doing all the launch plans. I was literally doing everything to a T, what you should, in quotations, do. And yet my business was not taking off like I knew it was possible. So I was like, what the frick is this? And I was asking James, and he, of course, asked me the question because I had this pull to be like, what is that? I was like craving, like, what is this coaching? How do you get on a coaching call and watch someone come like effing and jeffing and crying and like, oh, to like shift it and then make them, now they're making business decisions and making a lot more money and they're happy and they're grounded and they're calm. Like, how the F did you know how to do that? Like, it was like mind, whatever. And so that was like really pulling my interest of witnessing coaching and recognizing what is that. And then James asked me a question, which maybe it would be valuable for everyone here around, okay, Danya, you have built this business and you're building it. And I've been watching you from afar. Like you show up, you do the work. I'm like, tell me what I'm missing. What is happening? I knew how to work so hard. I burned myself out several times, went to the hospital. Like you're talking to someone, and I know probably your audience, like they know how to work hard.
Oh yeah.
They do. It's not like a matter of like you typically, if you're listening to podcasts, you're someone who takes the action. And with entrepreneurs, you know how to take the action and work hard to a default. We can get into that in a little bit. But the question was, okay, I see you doing all this stuff and you're building this stuff out. Let me just be curious here and just ask, like, if this one were to take off and be mega successful, like you know it's possible, like the vision, the company, the millions of dollars, et cetera, and the fitness, athletic therapy, injury space. And this other thing over here, which you can't name, something with coaching. We don't know what it is. Like I couldn't name it. I just know I'm really being pulled that way. If both of them were mega successful, which one would you choose? And on that, I have the video recording of it. On that call, I just broke because I was like, oh my fuck. Not that. I would choose the thing I can't even name. And my intuition was whispering to me all along, but I didn't know how to articulate it. Or like, again, I didn't know that was even a possibility. Is like go to school, get the degree, get the job. I didn't question enough to be like, what is that inner pull and yearning? And I look back and there's a flood of moments where you're like, people are commenting on how great you are at connecting with people and certain things that were all in this field, but I just didn't have the foresight to question it and be like, wait, you can do that. You can work for yourself. You can do coaching. And but I was with athletes and I'm with entrepreneurs. What? So that's the long-winded story of my journey in the sense that now I get to work with very driven, heart-led, high-level entrepreneurs. And to me, they're the exact same as an Olympic athlete. I still work with athletes and different divisions of whether it's actors or entrepreneurs, brick and mortar online, because it's all about you want something. There's a desire, there's a goal ahead of you. And the one thing that's going to get in your way is you. So I get to help uncover that and shift that. I just learned it through high performance in sport first on like the nth degree because you're like, talk about pressure situations, like, oh, we got to get this here and ship this thing. You're like, hold on. And I've worked with like SWAT officers and a bunch of different people who know they're at the top of their game performing well. And it's like, what is that next 1% edge to actually help me perform at my best, be my most effective, most resourceful, most aligned, most powerful to execute this next task? And is the task aligned for me or not? Like we get into all of that stuff. So entrepreneurs for me are just an athlete playing a different game.
Right.
You're used to
And
pressure, stress, failure. Like it's all the same things. You're doing it in a different way, which is very similar to acting. I'm imagining like all the calls you go to and rejections and failure and like show back up, not let that eat away at your self-worth or questioning like, am I even doing this? All of that stuff comes down to what I call frequency, which is your mind, your identity, your beliefs, your perspectives, your past memories or histories of things, the emotional turmoil, how well you can manage that. So, yeah, that's where I got to now. That's 5 years ago. And I'm so glad because back then it made no logical sense. I left everything I knew, my whole identity, my whole world to step into something I couldn't name. I think fuck I did because what we've created, I've got to meet people like you and work with amazing entrepreneurs and the ripple effect that creates for them. Like I just feel so privileged now that I actually listened to the inner pull, even though everyone logically was like, "You're crazy." Yep, the
yeah,
crazy ones usually change the world. So thank you. I'll
yeah.
take it.
Kudos to you because that's I think I've shared this with you. I had a similar like call it my
Yeah,
third life crisis, not a midlife as I was about 30. I had 10 years in at a corporate company, moving up the ladder, doing well, like lots of good stuff, but then
yeah,
just had this pull to the arts and performance. I actually ended up answering an ad on Kijiji, which is like Canadian Craigslist that said, "So you want to be a comedian?" and then started doing stand up. But that was it was like that sunk cost fallacy of, well, I've spent 10 years and the guilt of like quitting. And then I'd been to so many like conventions and conferences where you hear a regional manager pump you up about the opportunity and the vision and
yeah,
don't quit. And so I had to really fight feeling like I was quitting when really what I was doing was like following my soul whispers
yeah,
to be more, to do more. And
yep,
I love what you said about like entrepreneurs, and your work applies to everyone in every avenue. I know you mainly are working 6, 7, 8 figure business owners and entrepreneurs, but the reason I wanted to have you on here, I love one of my favorite things in life is meeting people who become my secret weapons, and then I just want to share them. Like I want to put you in a bottle and share it with everyone I know,
I love it.
because actors and like actors, comedians, artists, whether you realize it or not or admit it or not, I know a lot of people sometimes went into the arts because they reject business or capitalism or the corporate life, but you're still an entrepreneur. You still are a business person, and you're still going to go through all this mind junk that holds us back. So, what do you think? And I know this isn't your main avenue working with actors and creatives, but I know your work
It
applies to
is, which is
everything.
so fun because they have a mind and body and they have a goal and desire. So, like,
Right,
what I love is I don't need to know anything about your business or what you do. I
right.
just need to know where you're at, where you want to go, and how to uncover where you're stuck. So, I love, like, I don't, and it's fun because we talked before this call. Like, I tried your world for a little bit. I did improv recently and I was like, fuck, this is
Yes,
so fun. But also, like, I was so scared to go. And then it just brings up when you try new things, do something different, or you're going out there, it brings up your edge, your capacity of, like, oh, okay. So, yes, I won't say I know and can speak to the acting terminology, but I don't need to know that because I just need
right,
to know where you want to go and what's
right.
stopping you and holding you back, which is always ourselves. Something you said though, which I just want to interject quickly, something that really held me back too was when I changed from being an employee. Because if some of you are like aspiring actors and you're like, you are an employee, but you're looking to be more acting or go into the acting space. And yes, it is entrepreneurial because you are quote unquote selling yourself and applying for things outside, like working for your own, whether you're going for agency or it doesn't matter. Something that really held me back, I wasn't aware of in that earlier transition was, and I also want to preface this, there's no right or wrong, good or bad. There just is what game am I playing and what tools or perspectives do I need? So for me, I was an employee, like you said, like the golden handcuffs. You're like, here's a salary, here's the corporate ladder, here's a chain, and you can see it, and you're like, but when I transitioned from employee, salary job, a safe, which again is such an illusion we can go into, safety and stability are not from your job. COVID showed a lot of people that. And what will hold people back is thinking that the money or the job, the external is going to create that. That's got to be within first. But the mindset of an employee, again, no right or wrong, is very different from the mindset of an entrepreneur. So not only for me, I had to switch and be like, I can't think like an employee when I'm going to go get clients, go put my business out there, go have conversations. Those two people, I use a sport analogy because hello, background in sports. So maybe you can throw in an actor one. But for me to build my business or be an entrepreneur, to transition essentially from an employee to an entrepreneur is kind of like trying to play the game of basketball with the rules of soccer. They just don't work. So the first part is recognizing what is my current identity and what rules am I kind of playing with that most of us haven't chosen but are following rules and programs and paradigms, and what's actually required and needed of me for that role, for that lead, for that way of being. Because if we're not recognizing where we're operating from first, it can hold us back a lot more than it needs to. And so I don't know what actor analogy might pop into that, but I think what's helpful to recognize there's nothing wrong with anyone, but if you're in a transition point, you got to recognize if you're going to start playing a different game, there's different rules to that game that you get to create, but you have to recognize first, am I still thinking like an employee or am I thinking like an entrepreneur? Am I thinking like a employer? Am I thinking like an actor? Am I thinking of, so that employee mindset versus entrepreneur mindset, if you're in that transition space, is different and will help set you up for success easier and more effectively than still trying to approach it like how you approach your job or what you're currently doing.
Yeah, that I mean, the employee entrepreneur analogy does apply to most actors because a lot of the times they're holding on to like a 9 to 5 or a Joe job and
Mhm.
looking to make that jump. The other parallel you asked, like, how does that apply in the actor world? Might be from moving from small roles to lead roles. There is a different
Mm.
level of like a different level of mindset to be the person that the show is built around, where you're carrying
Yeah.
the whole show, and the mindset of like going from a day player bit part background to, okay, now you're the lead, you're in every scene. Or if it's a theater show, you might be on stage from the minute the curtain rises to the minute the curtain falls, and it's you're carrying that. And I've met so many actors. They're brilliant actors, they're brilliant performers, maybe even like far more brilliant than they even realize, but I see them stay stuck because of subconscious beliefs. So can you share, like, what do you think some hidden beliefs are that are holding back actors and creatives, but really holding back anyone? And why don't we realize it? What, like, they're hidden for a reason, but how do
Hmm.
we unlock them?
Okay, beautiful. So I think to understand that, and you can pull me back because I can go on tangents like
No, I'm
crazy.
not. You're
But I
just
want to make sure we get to answer it. But I'm going to go in some loops here just to I'll piece it all together.
yeah.
It's first recognizing things like maybe it's someone's first time hearing like what a belief is. I don't know, maybe. So a belief is just a thought we continue to think, whether we've learned it, which most of us have, enough times until it becomes our truth. Not the truth, our truth. So, what's a typical one in the acting creative space? Starving artist, that's a belief.
Right.
And now, whatever beliefs we have, which again, your subconscious mind, again, what is this? It runs everything you do. Right now, I'm talking to you and I'm moving my hands. I don't have to think about how I'm moving my hands, they just move. Can you imagine if you had to think about blink, look at this, look this way, take the light in from your eyes and make it refine? Like you couldn't function. So your subconscious mind is responsible for 95% or more of what we do every day. Thank goodness. It's a beautiful tool. What we don't recognize though is how it works. And most of us feel it works against us when actually it's doing exactly what it's designed to do. It was designed for the jungle, sure, to protect us, keep us safe, which we experience as like fight or flight, like overthinking or fear or my physiology kicking in right before an audition. That's just your body trying to tell you, hey, there's something here that I think is about to kill you. Even though for an entrepreneur, going from a 10K month to a 50K month, they're like consciously, you know, it's good. Like, Danya, consciously, I know this lead role would be amazing for me. I want this. And then somehow you like sneakily sabotage by forgetting to apply, even though you got all the application stuff ready. You're just like, oh, I forgot to submit it late. We do these weird things not because there's anything wrong with us, but because subconscious mind and nervous system are trying to keep you safe to what you know and what it knows, which, another side loop, is all just been programmed, what we've learned. So the reason I focus on money with entrepreneurs, it's the biggest mirror ever. Like you're gonna recognize, okay, where my worth is, where I'm attached, where there's pressure, where there's stress, where I'm in performance versus just being. It's just a mirror for us. And it's kind of the gateway in to really shift your consciousness, expand your frequency, and show you where operating from. So if I've got the subconscious mind that now I'm understanding is like this beautiful thing that's trying to keep me safe, it runs everything we do pretty much. Um, it's programmed from a very young age. So from 0 to 7, we don't have this critical factor to reject information, which means just for a moment, think back to if you can remember 0 to 7, like what was happening? Your brain took everything in as just like truth. It's just like, okay, this. And we learn a lot of our beliefs and patterns based on just observation and misinterpretations of things. Someone could have stolen your teddy bear in grade 2 and you made it mean, oh my God, I'm not worthy or I'm not good. And you as an adult looking back can be like, that doesn't make any sense, but your subconscious mind learned a pattern, like it's not safe to be seen. So side note here, a classic one for people wanting more visibility. There's a big fear of being seen. Why? Because being seen isn't safe. And with one of my clients, they had a presentation back in, I think it was grade 3. It's like show and tell something. And they were doing their presentation in grade 3. How do we figure this out? I kind of took her through some exercises to uncover like, where is the belief? Where did it start? Where did I learn that's not safe to be seen? This memory popped up, presentation, show and tell. Someone in the class laughed. She made it mean, oh my God, see, I suck. I shouldn't be up here. I shouldn't be doing this. And that now plays out as a program, just like in a computer, now moving forward until you reprogram and shift that. Now, the kid could have laughed because someone tooted beside them or said some joke. It could have nothing to do with that person who's actually presenting. But that person learned that it's unsafe to be in front of people. Why? Part of the subconscious mind is a tribal paradigm or tribal instinct is to be in the tribe. So if you're looked at or something different or special, back in the day, you got ostracized, you got killed. And your subconscious mind is that primal nervous system. So as adults, we're like, this makes no sense. Why would it do this? I want more money. I want that lead, Danya. I really consciously want these things. But we've learned our beliefs, our identity, our ways of being through growing up, what was passed down to us, what we observed, movies. In movies, who's typically the bad guy? The rich person. So, like, again,
Mhm.
subconsciously, it's like, I don't want to make more money than my partner because maybe they'll leave me. Like, these things that we wouldn't consciously make sense to us. But as soon as you uncover, like, where is this belief? Where did I learn this? What is it? Why do I not feel safe with more money? Like, why can't I feel safe being out front and center? There's usually some belief that your brain thinks you need to survive because you've had a past experience or memory or meaning applied to it that almost, in quotations, killed you back in the day. And it didn't actually, but if it caused enough emotional turmoil, your brain goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want to experience that ever again. I don't want to even go near that because mine's like that almost killed us, even though you're consciously, again, you got to go through this filter. It's like, Danya, how's this make more money? Kill me. It doesn't, but your brain thinks it's unsafe. That's why we're not making more. That's why we're not landing rules. So it's beautiful to protect us, to keep us safe. It's doing its job to help protect you to what it knows, what it's been programmed with. Belief. A thought I continue to think until it's my truth, not the truth. Now, it's going to run that program, which means everything in your 3D reality, everything in your paradigm right now is only filtering through your own lens. So it's not that it's the perspective of everyone, it's just your perspective, your perception of the slice of truth, your perception of reality. So your brain, his job is to prove you right, keep you safe, and only show you evidence for what you believe deep down to be true. That's why we can take an example of two people experiencing the exact same movie. Let's say you both were watching the same screen, but one person's like, "Man, that was amazing! The choreography, the director, the depth." The other person's like, "Were you watching the same movie as me? That sucked." We're watching the same 3D thing, but based on our filters, based on our beliefs, our past experiences, our identities, our preferences, our meanings, our interpretations, all that stuff is causing your perspective of reality. So I want to say all of that as a tidbit. You can go to my podcast, we dive deeper into each thing, but it's nothing wrong with you. It's just you're recognizing, hey, I'm noticing I'm trying to do this action, but I'm noticing fear or physiology in my body. Or every time I go to do this, oh, I end up spending the money or I self sabotage in quotations. It's not you consciously doing that. Your brain, subconscious mind thinks there's something here to keep you safe from. It doesn't like change, it doesn't like newness. So if you're doing something different, hello high achievers, hello actors, you're going for all these different roles, your brain's going to see that as a threat and keep you to what it knows. I wanted to say that because when we just hear the word belief, it's like, just believe, Danya, just, be seen, it's safe. It's not going to work that way. And you can't, action does help, but you have to go into recognizing what's the running program in the background that 99% of the time has nothing to do with what you're talking about. It's going to be some past meaning, some past memory that we have to actually go and uncover and recognize, like, why why can I sell someone else's stuff? No problem. I have such belief in someone else's stuff, but when it comes to my own stuff, there's doubt there. Even though I know it's good shit, there's doubt. And so recognizing that your belief or your emotional state, your frequency is going to impact how you show up. Boldly putting yourself out there, rah, versus like maybe hesitating. Send the email, but the energy I'm sending the email in is going to be like, see it, but don't see it. Like, pick me, but don't pick me. So it's everything. Now, I know we just said what's a belief, but I want to give a bit of understanding because we can be so hard on ourselves and be like, what is wrong with me? I'm doing all the right action, I'm doing all the right things. But the energy of what we're doing the action in and the belief that's behind that or the identity is really what's shaping your experience of it and therefore your result of it. And to shift a result on the outside, we have to go back understanding what actually helps create a result and shift it there. And by law of cause and effects, when you change what's in the cause, the effect, aka your result, has to change. Okay, so you can pull on any string. I went in like 10 different directions,
No, this is amazing.
but
I should
tell
have
me where you
mentioned
want
to
to
our
expand
listeners,
on.
get a notepad right now because
Sorry.
Danya is dropping fire, and I
I
know
gotta speak slower too.
there's gonna be unlocks, and just jot some of these nuggets down, or just re-listen to the podcast over and over again, or go listen to Daniel's podcast, Play Bigger. You mentioned visibility, and that is
Mhm.
such a strange paradox in acting. I've faced this. I know others who have faced this, where you say you want to be seen, like ultimately at the height of this, your
Yeah.
face is going to be in a close up on a giant movie screen or in an IMAX, and
I
that's what you
love
aspire
IMAX.
to. Yet
Yes.
there's still some people where there's this fear of being seen. Like maybe I've seen people where they show up on a Zoom and it's shitty lighting, or they're way back here, or when I'm working with people on their auditions, they're very self-conscious about being in a close-up, like, oh no, that's too close, I look ugly, or you see that thing on my face, or that dimple, or whatever they don't like about themselves. So there's this weird push and pull of like, you want all your dreams to come true, and you want to be on these giant posters and on the front of the movie covers, yet you have this weird thing about even being seen. So that's
Yep.
constantly butting each other, like it's butting against each other. How
Yep.
does someone build safety in that visibility? You talked about it, it possibly stems back to something in the past. So like how
Totally
do
does.
someone how do we get to that?
Yeah, okay, beautiful. And the reason I went on a bit of a tangent is I find when someone knows the what and the why, the how becomes easier. Like if you can recognize your nervous system, what you're feeling, the nervous trepidation, I remember when I used to speak on stage, my knees would shake. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? My knees are shaking. So it's all these things you're just like, I don't understand why my heart's racing. Why am I blushing? Why am I sweating right now? There's nothing wrong with you. Your nervous system is actually doing the most beautiful orchestration of trying to keep you safe because it's sensing, not a literal, but it's sensing that there's a lion in front of you trying to kill you. So it's doing its job to get all of its resources to leave the brain to go into the body to make you strong, to fight or run. If you understand that, when you are observing or witnessing the experience of your physiology kicking off, or your mind drama being like, what the heck? I don't know. What if people say of me? And what if they see this dimple on my face? Or what if I script the line and, that's not you. That's your mind and body trying to keep you safe to what it knows. So I say that because if you can even just pause and recognize what's actually going on, it's pretty fucking cool. Like we have a beautiful system and thank goodness for it because right now you can brush your teeth without thinking about it. Right now, you can go drive a car, which before you didn't used to, but you enough times with enough intention and attention, that becomes your brain goes, okay, let's automate this. You must need this to survive. So we're just going to run that as an automated program. Your beliefs, your identity, your actions are all the same thing. And if you can begin to see it that way, it's less about my body, what's wrong with me trying to attack me versus like, okay, can I get curious around something in my body sensing here is like a threat or danger? Now, anything new to the brain is a threat. You want that lead role. You never had the lead role in that capacity. Maybe you're doing a genre of romantic comedy, but now you're going for like the badass, like villain. If you've not done whatever it is you're about to do, I want you to, it'd be so weird. You'd be psychotic. There'd be something wrong with your body if you didn't freak the fuck out a little bit, whether it's mind drama or physiology. So again, I know a little bit of the why, and I teach people this in a much more in-depth thing, but to give you some tidbits of like, okay, I can kind of get on board. Let's say my mind and body is protecting me. Cool. Okay. Now I can be observant of that. Okay, cool. I can see it for what it is versus what I'm going to make it mean, where something's wrong with me. Okay, cool. Now, when it happens, Danya said this happens when there's change. Any change to the brain is a threat. That 50K month from 100K month, that's a change. Your brain's going to freak the fuck out. That new role, genre, whatever, lead versus maybe back actor, that's change. And I know you consciously want all these things. Yes, beautiful. You have desires, go after it. But until we normalize that change to the mind and body and create it more as a lived experience, which is what I'll talk through in a second, it's always going to kick off. So, what do I mean by that? Right now, if you were to think about something you did yesterday as a memory, like what did you eat for breakfast yesterday? Your body wouldn't kick off. Oh my God, I ate eggs and toast and frick. No, it doesn't care. Anything in your paradigm, your 3D reality is just a indication of what was. I call it leftover chewing gum. Okay. Your present day moment here right now, the number in your bank account, the number of applications you have for auditions, the number of callbacks you have is simply a past recognition of previous ways of thinking, beliefs, actions or inactions, etc. It's not determining where you go in the future. It's not none of that. It's just like here's a printout. What was, boom. Now, if you're like, I don't like this printout, I want different things, cool. We first have to go recognize what created this printout. For me, just to say, be positive, just get out there, go do it. You will, absolutely. But you will also lose access to all of your resources like intuition, creativity, seeing possibilities, staying calm when shit's hitting the fan, when you're doing something different and new because of what this newness and change does to mind and body. So, this is the why to help explain what's going on with it. Now, a fear of visibility or being seen, this is very, with everyone, it's almost the same thing because we're bringing it back to what does this mean about me? And if we have a thought or a fear around, what if they think this? Oh, look, thumbs up. What is Zoom hand things? I don't understand. But what is happening is as the fear is kicking off, it's oftentimes confirming whether you believe it or not, doesn't have to be true or not. It's usually confirming something that's deep down truth for ourselves that we've learned. So when I go and I'm doing a different audition and I have a fear come up of like, what is this? One, I just said it's your brain trying to keep you to what it knows. So it's different. Okay, cool. But two, you can just observe without analyzing, but just observe like what are the thoughts that come up? Like what is the fear actually trying to show me? It's just trying to protect me from like worst case scenario survival, keep me safe. So what maybe am I scared of? If I get this role, what is actually not good about it? Or what I would call like a secondary benefit. Growing my business, making more money. What am I actually worried about? The first answer is always like, Danya, nothing. I want more money. I want to be on the lead role. No, but unless you're doing it in your full gusto and like your full, like, there's no fear kicking off, there's something there that your brain senses as a threat. So you can first observe and get curious. I always use this example here too. If everyone right now closed their mouth but said the word hello in their mind, who's saying that hello? So you said it, but you're also the observer hearing you say it. Why do I say that? Recognizing that you're not the thinker of your thoughts, you're the observer of your thoughts. So instead of attaching, like, what if they think this and see this and I do this and I'm a failure, my mom thinks this and I spend all this money here, that's not your thinking. Those are old programs coming up trying to keep you to what it knows. You're observing them. Can you observe them and just get curious of like, interesting, like, why would more money actually be a bad thing? Why would landing this lead role be a bad thing? Oh, I'm actually scared people might take from me, or what if people find out I'm a fraud, or whatever it is, notice what comes up. Just observe it. There's nothing harmful in writing it down or observing it, because that also helps clear it out of your prefrontal cortex and helps you see it for what it is. Like, okay. Then, of course, some memories and stuff can come up, but just simply observe and question and get curious. Why is this thing actually a bad thing or a good thing? And see what mind brings up to you. I mentioned earlier, which I want to close the loop on, your brain is sensing something new as a threat. Well, the beautiful thing about your subconscious mind is it doesn't know what's real or not real. What? And you can use that and hack it. All great athletes do this. They visualize everything. You see top level anything, fighter pilots. It's so cool. You watch them do like the shows. They are in the office before all of them, visualizing every exact move that they're doing before they get in that fighter plane. Athletes, if something goes wrong, like swimming in a triathlon, if my goggles get kicked off, instead of me going into fight or flight, I've rehearsed this. I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, the reason this is so valuable is whenever we get kicked off into fight or flight, fear. What is fear? Everything that's causing you stress and worry, overthinking, perfectionism, worry, money, whatever it is, when you feel the physiology, my body's in fear. I don't want to be in fear because when that system kicks on, fight or flight, I lose access to creativity, intuition, possibilities, the ability to improv on the spot and feel so fucking good about it versus like, oh shit, no, I'm getting dumber because my blood's going from my brain to my body and getting stronger to fight and run away from this really awesome lead audition, but I want to have all my resources and be able to improv and be effective and resourceful. So I'm going to close the loop in a sec. If you can understand these pieces of what's actually going on and you recognize, okay, wait a second, all the greats spend some form of visualizing. Why? You're making something that's new to mind and body a memory. Your mind doesn't know what's real or not real. Let me prove this to you. You have all experienced someone sent you some scary movie or pop up where it's like, I usually use a spider one because I'm more comfortable with spiders, but imagine someone sends you something from a TikTok and it's like that happy go lucky. And then suddenly this like thing pops up and you freak out, right? But it's on your screen. Why are you freaking out? Like, it's not going to jump at you, but you respond as if it's jumping at you. You watch a scary movie, you feel the physiology, you feel the fear, like, oh, this idiot, don't open the door with a chainsaw behind it. What are you doing? You feel the emotions and the response with it because your mind doesn't realize it's not real. So, okay, how do I use that to my advantage? What can I do and rehearse it mentally and also physically, where I now make that thing that's new to my mind and body as a memory? All the different scenarios, so that if and when they do happen, instead of me becoming dumber and stronger in the body, I stay in with my resources. The fight or flight doesn't kick off. I stay access to seeing all the possibilities, the creative ways of thinking, the intuition that's here for me, where I'm now more resourceful and effective. So, step one, understand a little bit of the what and the why. Step two, just simply observe and become aware. Why is this shit kicking off without judgment? Just being like, okay, cool. My body's trying to keep me safe from something. Step three is, okay, I want this new thing. It's new. Danny said newness is a threat to my body. How do I make it not new? How do I rehearse this? How do I visually say myself if I'm worried about screwing up on stage? Screw up in your mind. Watch someone else screw up on stage and recognize they didn't die. It's okay. And rehearse and rehearse and rehearse until we no longer have the physiology kick off. And then what happens when you do it in person? You're not in that fight or flight state, which means you're more resourceful, more effective. That's one way to start accessing observation, understanding why, and beginning to shift where it's going. When you want to work with someone deeper and do the subconscious rewiring and programming is when you're like, I'm fucking doing this shit, Danny, and it's the same pattern. The same mind drama comes up, the same pattern comes up, the same result comes up. That's when you know it's something deeper, which oftentimes it is for a lot of it. But you can do a lot of shifting on your own. So start taking some of these things or things in my podcast and apply it to your life, and you'll begin to recognize changes are happening. It's just if it's a repeated pattern and you repeatedly go through things, that's when we know to go deeper under the questioning of like, what's actually driving this pattern, which is really fun.
I love that idea of a future memory. I remember the first
Mm,
time, I'm not sure if it was at a next level event with James or where it might have even been on your podcast. The first time I heard that, that was like mind blowing to me. The idea of making something that's already happened that you want to happen in the future feel like it already has happened by rehearsing it mentally. And actors are so familiar with rehearsal,
yeah.
which is great, and that's using your body, using your voice, and you want to get the words and the scene into your body. But I can
Yeah.
see that there would be a ton of value to just mentally rehearsing, almost like a meditation, just going through the
Yeah.
motions in your mind in addition to your like quote unquote normal rehearsal. Yeah, that's
Yeah. And
beautiful.
your world is so great at that. And now I would challenge you, take it to your edge where you feel, where am I noticing my fight or flight's kicking off? Where am I going into worry or fear? Where is it? What's new to me? Now that I know newness flicks us off, where can I expand that? And where can I go into worst case scenario of that? Because that's where your brain's going to kick off. And that's what it's trying to protect you from is like keep you
Right.
safe, keep you surviving, right? So it's challenging it even further to recognize where am I scared? Where's my edge? Where's my capacity? Where do I notice mind drama or physiology? Okay, cool. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to witness myself fall and fumble and whatever it is in your mind and body. Um, it's more just so, what do you said something before of rehearsing it and stuff. Yeah, it's more so like the stuff that you consciously know is good, but maybe potentially you're scared of, or you think might be a threat, or you think might be not a good thing to do. Now, that question of secondary benefit of is like, why is landing this role actually not a good thing? Don't observe it from a conscious mind. Just ask it and be like, what potentially could be the threat here, or what my mind and body is trying to keep me safe from, and see what maybe comes up from that, and allow yourself to address it from the sense of, there's actually a benefit for me not to get this. There's actually a benefit for me to stay exactly where I am. Even though you can be so frustrated, like, I want more money, I want these things. Yes, which again, want just perpetuates more wanting
Yeah.
because indicates lack.
The,
But yeah,
I
go.
was just gonna say there's a lot of things. I've thought of that in the past. I know that's happened to me where it could be like, okay, you land this, but then what if it sucks? So you get all this publicity and then you get Rotten Tomato scores that are awful. Or I've in previous relationships, I was in a relationship where I strongly felt if I booked this role, it was going to take me away, and then it was going to cause relationship drama. So I had this
Ah,
push and pull of like, okay, on the one hand, all my dreams, and on the other hand, this is going to fuck up my relationship. So
yep,
if I land this, it's going to be a bad thing. And I know some people with families, or it might be being away from family. How am I going to deal with that? Yeah, I'm going to get the money, but I'm not going to see my kids. Like
yeah.
that's a real thing for people. Yeah.
Yes. And what you're speaking to now is your internal value unconscious conflicts. Because I might value freedom, right? I might value like, oh, but then I'm in a business where if I my subconscious thinks like, okay, more money, more visibility takes away my freedom. I can do all the conscious actions to get there, but if subconsciously I'm seeing that again as a threat and I haven't figured out where's my value misalignment, I'm never going to actually, I might get some things, but I'm going to always come back to what I call your wealth thermostat, like always come back to what
Right.
I'm known and comfortable with. So it's beautiful to bring up recognizing where there might be some tension or fear or why is this actually a bad thing and what am I worried about or afraid of? Not that you have to consciously be, but just see what might be slowing you down or stopping you from fully taking that action in alignment in the
Yeah.
frequency of like, I fucking got this versus like, I got this, but I'm scared and there's doubt in my frequency and because people pick up on that.
Let's talk more about money, money, money,
Oh, I
money,
love money.
because there is it's I mean it's tale as old as time, the starving artist. Um, Sometimes like it's a badge, wear it as a badge of honor. While I'm
Yeah.
supposed to struggle for my art, it's either I follow my art or I make money. I've chosen the art path, so I'm going to be poor my whole life, is what a lot of people think. And I had that phase for me. The
Yeah.
other thing that happens is we love this and we would all do it. We didn't start it be like, "Ooh, this is a great way to make money. I'm gonna tell stupid jokes on stage." Like nobody started at that. When I started, you're not getting paid. The first time I got paid to do stand up, it was in chicken wings and
I
joints
love it.
and nuggets of weed
Yeah.
and maybe a full meal and then eventually
Yeah.
drink tickets. And then the first time I got paid $20 was like mind blowing to me. I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, I've made it.
Yeah.
Somebody just paid me $20." So there's also that push and pull of, I love this, so I would do it for free, but I want to pay my bills and have a life without having to have a soul-sucking Joe job. So can we talk about money, money issues? How can we flip those scripts for people so that they can not struggle forever?
Yes. Okay. So I'm glad we spoke a little bit about beliefs and stuff because recognizing that everything is true, everything can be true. A belief is just a thought I continue to think. Now, there's societal beliefs and conditionings that many of us learn and take on. Okay. So we can recognize that in the creative world, that narrative of being a starving artist and being proud to like struggle and stuff is very potent, very alive. We can also say, though, that that's also just a belief with a lot of evidence. And remember, your brain's only going to find evidence for your subconscious beliefs because on the same grain of sand, you can find that to be true and you can find evidence for the opposite of it to be true. You can
Right.
find, and if you're like, Danya, I can't go to ChatGPT, tell me the story of someone else who didn't have to go over this crazy struggle thing, or find me examples, find me evidence. So, recognizing that is our own bias based on our own filter of beliefs and identity and what we believe to be true. You now get to say, okay, hold on a sec. Do I agree with that? Do I like that? Is that working for me? I don't like asking if something is true because everything can be true. You can find
Right.
all of the great experts arguing the truth. Let's say coffee. There's research articles that say coffee is going to kill you. Don't drink coffee. Then there's other experts that say coffee is the thing that makes you alive. It's going to sustain you. You're like, what the F? So a coaching question is not as effective to ask anymore is this true? It doesn't matter. What I want everyone to start asking themselves is this perspective, belief, definition useful and effective for me, for where I'm going? Most oftentimes it's not because
Right.
you often haven't challenged your definitions and beliefs and questioned them. This is the whole narrative of how I started my career. Why did I just think I had to go to school, get a job, get a degree, bah, 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 bah? Like, hold on, question some shit here. So the first step is recognizing again, really briefly, where they came from. Yes, that's the collective story. Does it have to be? But Tanya, the writers got laid off and the actors, yes, those can be some very real things. And you still will see that there's people who are massively successful in the times where most people are saying, you can't make money. It's not a good time to sell. Everything's shut down. Uh-uh. That's only our perspective, our perception of reality from our own perspective. It's not reality itself. Now, that can be a bit of a mind fuck for people to chew on because you can only be finding evidence to, again, prove you right. Your brain's job is to filter out all of the bits of information, which is like 4 billion bits coming in at one time, the light, the vibrations, everything. And it filters through your own inner filters. And it's only going to show you that information. So, what we want to recognize is okay, hold on. This has been a belief. This has been a narrative. It seems very real. And you can have a lot of evidence for this. Yes, but it's only because your brain's been showing you that. There's also other people with a very different filter about money, about a possibility, about creation, about art, about, are you joking me? You need to pay me millions of dollars for this. No one's right or wrong. It's more just recognizing where's my belief about it? Where's my perspective and the perception of this sliver of reality I'm experiencing? And is it possible that it could be something different? The answer is yes. So, first is challenging the money thing. So, a lot of people have stories of like money is bad or money is evil or you should just want to give away your art and your especially like my healers out there who are just like you should just give it away for free. It's
Mm.
spiritual to not make money. And I'm like, holy what? No. It's a belief, but it's not going to serve you for where you're going. And a big one too is being selfish. So I probably imagining some of your audiences, actors who have families, and they're like, it's selfish for you to go off and do the audition instead of helping me back home. Or there's all these narratives that aren't serving you.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that your current paradigm I can have compassion for, but I always say you're never a victim of circumstance. You're only a victim of perspective. And as you change your perspective, things have to change. So right now, our way of thinking, our way of being, can we get on board with? It's gotten me here, the printout of my paradigm, but I want to go there, which means I got to access a different frequency, a way of thinking, way of being, different beliefs that actually align with that. And as I do that over time, my brain's going to show me evidence for that to be true. So this whole money thing is bad, money is evil, give away your things for free. If you have that paradigm, which is very common, you're only going to see evidence for that. What else could be true? What else could it mean? What else potentially could be a new definition of that? And so, is there ways that you can find evidence within yourself, whether it's acting or a different domain, or other people where it's not been true? And as you start to question that and see it you're like, okay, wait a second. Your entanglement of the belief kind of starts to dissipate because you're like, well, if this and this and this can be true, like, why don't I choose the one that's most empowering, the one that's actually going to help me get there? Like, I can make a fuck ton of money from art. There's some people on TikTok, my gosh, so many different ways. I remember seeing a model who was short, and she's like, fuck that, I'm going to be a model. And she just like, again, accessed a different way of thinking, different beliefs, didn't let the size of her, because back in the day, it was like you had to be a certain height, certain body shape, whatever. That was the societal paradigm. But notice the outliers who are just like, fuck that. I don't want that to be my truth. I want to do this. There's a pull for me. I want to do this. I want to do this. How can I? When I'm in a place of like, oh, it's hard or this is just the way it is, you shut down. Versus when you expand your perspective, I'll use a quick example here. Let's say we're in New York and we're on the ground floor. We're in the same geological vacation location, but we're looking around us right now and we're seeing lots of taxis. We're hearing the taxis honking. We're seeing all these tall buildings. And that's my perception of New York, my perspective of it. Then if I take you to the penthouse, you're in the same location. I'm just taking you up. Now suddenly you see the park over there. Oh my gosh, and that person's got a hot tub on his balcony. And wow, there's a vendor. Oh, I want to go see that street. That's where the store is. You're in the same circumstance, same location, but you're seeing it differently. You're pulling it from such a richer pool of perspectives and ideas and creative ways of thinking, etc. So for this model, who now is a really big model, and she's getting all these brand deals because she's like, fuck that way of thinking. I want to be a model and do it my own way. How can I? Opens up to expansion. Well, maybe you have suddenly idea come through, you access intuition. Wait, I can actually reach out to this person, or I heard this person ask this, I can actually apply here. You accessing more of your consciousness, your intuition, the stuff that you can't name but is there, that people might say is woo woo or not. It's just scientific intuition picking up the frequency and signals. But you're opening up your ability to see beyond the current paradigm, current perspective. And that's where I want to get people to is you're never stuck in your circumstance, no matter what someone says, no matter what society's doing, no matter what the algorithm's doing. We never want to let the outside world dictate our internal. It's the opposite way. But you have to change the internal in order actually to shift what you're witnessing and your brain showing you in the external. So, did I answer your question in a way?
I mean, you probably answered a million questions for so many people. No, this is incredible. Yeah, you 100% answered. I mean,
Let's start with
how did
this
that question
first.
started about asking
Money.
how we can flip the money
Yeah.
script. Yeah.
So let me start with everyone here is understand and recognize what are my current beliefs about money? What is my current belief about my art and what I can do and what I can't do? And don't judge it. Just be like, money is evil. And maybe you had an example of your mine. It was like, I was so nervous to have showers for too long. I have long hair. And it's like, get out of the shower. I set like a timer. It's like, don't waste the hot water. Like, turn all the lights off. So recognizing that again, all the things you have currently right now, you haven't consciously chosen. Very likely, very unlikely you have. There are things that you observed, witnessed, or passed down to you. So challenge, okay, what do I believe about acting? What I believe is possible for someone like me. What do I believe about money? Fuck, money feels heavy. It's stressful. It's hard. It causes fights. I witnessed my dad lose his business and cause tension. Okay, cool. Those are some clues to recognizing what potentially is creating your current experience and perspective of acting, of money, of this world in this domain. Okay, cool. From there, recognizing, well, no shit, if I feel like I'm never going to be good enough, because I learned that, which most people do, when I go to do auditions and I don't get it, it's just a confirmation for I'm not good enough. See, it's actually
Right.
not though. It's just a confirmation for a belief that we have that's not truth. It's just a belief. Again, a belief is just the thought we continue to think enough times until it's like a program, just like brushing your teeth. So, first, start with recognizing what's kind of happening, creating it. Second is, what is the thing in front of me that I might be struggling with or want to be different? What's my current way of thinking of it? My beliefs, what I think is possible, not possible, hard or not hard. Some prompts we've used before is like, money is what? Fill in the blank. Evil, doesn't grow on trees, whatever. Um, in order to make money, I have to, a lot of people like sacrifice, struggle.
Right.
Good. No wonder you're experiencing, that's your current experience of money, sacrifice and struggle. And for entrepreneurs who want to scale their businesses and like, oh, I'm more ease and flow and freedom, you consciously want that, but your nervous system is wired for chaos, for struggle, for it has to be hard. So no matter how many people you hire, how many things you automate, or how many things you do, you're going to create that struggle and chaos in other areas of your life to scratch that nervous system itch of, here's my home, struggle and chaos, hard work, um, not getting paid for a lot of things. That's just what you're used to, but it's not who you are, what it has to be anymore. I
Yeah,
think that will
that's
help land a bit further.
so many actors, so many artists that really resonated is like the struggle and the hustle and the badge of honor, or getting used to I got to say yes to everything, or to make a lot of money it's $50 here and $100 there and 500
Yeah.
there, and it's and rather than, oh, could it be easier? That's why I love sharing James Wedmore and the Rise of the Digital CEO, because it's like, how can you build something once that pays you over and over? How can you make things systemized? I
Yeah.
love what you said there too, and this really struck me out when you first said it on one of the next level calls was, um, don't focus on whether your belief is true or not, or something is true, just is it useful? And that's
Yeah.
so helpful, because you can get lost in like, no, that's what I think, or that's who I am. It's like, okay, you can say that's who you are, but is that
Is it
helping you,
helping you?
or is
Yeah.
that fucking you up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Um,
think that's great too, because a big thing I'm assuming, well, everyone does, is like investing in yourself. Like, how do I invest in the program for actors? How do I invest in, like, James Wedmore's doing his launch right now of Rise of Digital CEO. And a lot of what he does in that program is perspective shifting, but also creating the systems and automations for you to create leverage around what you love and want to do in life. So, the huge thing is, again, going back to that selfish piece, like, oh, who am I to take away? Like, someone said this to me earlier, who am I to take away money from my family's pot to like focus on myself and do things? And I'm
yeah.
like, hold on a sec, girl. What?
Who am I to follow my dreams?
Yeah. Who am
Yeah.
I to invest in myself and take the money away from this thing? And it's irresponsible to invest. Hold on a sec. Like, this is a whole can of worms. But a small reframe on that is recognizing, because at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to feeling like selfish. And I want to challenge that again with everything. What is my definition of selfish? Because again, it's not yours. What is my definition of success? Again, guarantee it's not yours until you redefine it. And even when you redefine it, you can keep redefining it and adding to it. But this whole notion of investing in myself or following my dreams, of thinking of as selfish, is, let me give you this perspective of, okay, so let's imagine you've got kiddos at home and, oh, it's such a beautiful, but also does not help anyone to like be self-sacrificing, self-serving. And it's like, but I love and I want to give from that. I get that. It's coming from a well-intentioned place. Yes. And also, though, who benefits more when that parent actually gets the full rest that they need? Are you more present, more patient with your kids, more understanding? Heck yes. What about when you're also filling your cup? Because you're still a human too, where you're actually doing things like improv, like I just did recently, where you're actually filling your cup first. Are you more vital and full of life? Or are you less mortal, vital and full of life? You're more. Well, who benefits from that? Are you more present in your relationships? Are you more patient, more kind, more resourceful, more effective? Yeah. And so, even flipping the script on selfishness, it's actually selfish of you not to take care of yourself first, because when you take care of yourself first, you're more useful, but more effective. You're more of you for other people, and people get the best version of you, whether it's your kids, your partner, your employee, your leading edition. Only everyone benefits when you actually take care of yourself first. But the narrative is, oh, it's selfish. No, that's just a way to keep people in the grind of like sacrifice your values for your work and climb the corporate ladder. And it's just a paradigm for really, in a sense, control, but we're not going in there. So, what would it look like for you to redefine what selfish means, what following your dreams
Well,
means, what investing in yourself means? Who benefits? As far as I'm concerned, everyone on a magnitude higher than if you just were to keep serving from an empty cup or not following your dreams. Or because also, let's think about that. How much resentment builds up towards your partner subconsciously or your family, or like, oh, my job, when you're not doing things that fill your cup first, like eating, sleeping, following your passions while incorporating. There's a way you can figure out to your families, I understand. But I'm sure if you had communication, you could figure out a schedule or have some help or in-laws or whatnot. So everyone actually benefits from this, and it's a win-win for everyone.
It's beautiful. Um, Again, this has been incredible. I knew this was going to happen because this could be a week-long thing. This could be a month-long intensive.
Yeah.
This could be a 10-part podcast series. I do have a few more things I want to touch on. Are you okay on time? I want to be
Yeah, I
respectful
actually
of your
am. Yeah,
time.
no,
Okay, great.
I've,
Um, so one thing, and you kind of touched on a little bit, just the idea of rejection. Actors, like if 1,000 people audition for something, the reality is 999 of them are not getting it, and one of them is. So how's it going to work if 999 people think they suck or they're losers or they don't have value because they didn't book the role? And over a career, you're going to get way more no's than yeses.
yeah,
So, any tips, thoughts of how people can separate their worth from the audition room? I mean, aside just saying like you're a human
fuck it.
being, you're a ball of light and love. So yeah, your worth has
Yeah,
nothing to do with acting, but that's easier said than done for people. If it's no, no,
yeah,
no, and they're looking at their bank, they're looking at their
yeah,
credits, their agent drops them, their parent is saying, when are you going to give up on this and get a real job? Like, how do
yeah,
people shake that identity of rejection?
yeah. So powerful. And also so beautiful because it's a very real experience we all have had in different levels, in different areas, business, sports, acting, whatever it is. So I'm not going to be the person that's just like, just keep going. Woohoo. I'm not about spiritual bypassing or gaslighting. It's not about that. It's, I want you in the moment when we have rejection, if you have a physiological response to it, it's trying to tell you something. So I'm going to go back to that first and foremost, because if there is like a, yes, of course, like the pressures of like money, again, it's all perception, but it can feel very real to be like, my bank account, my people are saying this makes no logical sense, but I have this pull. It's first recognizing what is your mind and body trying to tell you in rejection. Now, as a really quick side note, I go a lot deeper on different episodes of my podcast, but self-worth is the crux of almost everything that people do or don't do things. They do a launch and they don't get the result. Oh, see, just subconsciously, like, see, it's not possible. See, I'm not good enough. See this. Now, it's just feeding a narrative that's already been programmed in there. It's not the truth. It's just confirming a belief that I have deep down subconsciously. So if you can recognize that, you're like, okay, wait a second. If I know there's 1,000 people here and only one person gets a job, yeah, okay, I can look at odds, but also if I show up in my most resourceful, effective state where I'm not in fight or flight and I give it my best and I'm like, fuck yeah, and I don't get it, I can walk away being like, okay, cool. What happens, what I find with most people is they don't give their best, or they, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or frick, or I didn't, I rehearsed this and why did I flub up there? Their noise gets in the way of them showing up as their most powerful self. The pressure in the background of like what mom said or what your partner just said or the bank account you just checked before you left, that's impacting your performance in present day. So I always want to clear that up first, because you're not effective and resourceful in your most powerful state if I'm in a state of fear, lack, fight or flight, etc., which most people are. Even those who have success and millions of dollars and lots of followers, they're still in very much scarcity fear mindset.
That
Why do I
happens a
say that? Yeah.
if I can just jump in,
Yeah.
the manifestation of that for actors is on the way to an audition, like, oh, I'm not
Yeah.
right for this, or I didn't have enough time for this, or the writing's bad. So they kind of half-ass it. They don't go all
Yeah.
in, and then it's like, well, see, I didn't book it. Of course, I shouldn't have anyways. So it's this weird circular self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. And I'm so glad you said that. It is just a self-fulfilling prophecy in the sense of it's confirming something that there's a belief about myself deep down that now this just finds more evidence for. It doesn't mean it's true, but it's confirming a story about myself, like of a fear I might have, or like the feeling of being inadequate or not worthy enough, which, real quick, that's a societal program for good intention. Here's why. So again, we can link the episode on this. It goes deeper, but in short, our parents do the best of what they can. Yes. Okay. And we learned from a young age, wait a second, this is mom. They feed us, they keep us safe. We want to make sure we are like good so that we get food and whatever, even if, okay, so it's well intentioned, right? Where our parents did the best that they could, pass on what they knew, what they learned, etc. But this whole going back to good enough worthy stems from childhood. Now, whether you had an amazing childhood growing up or an abusive childhood growing up doesn't matter in terms of it's very much around. I learned that mom and dad, or mom or dad or brother, whatever, are going to keep me safe and feed me. So I learn at a young age to perform, to get food, to survive. Now, an example of this is, let's say you're at the grocery store and your mom doesn't want you to take your diaper off and throw poop around. So they'll use words like good boy, good girl, good name, whatever. And so from a young age, we're learning things like, oh, okay, here's these people that are trying to keep me alive, even if it might be havoc and crazy and abusive, or if it's like really good. Again, everyone's child is very different, but we're never a victim of our circumstance or what's happened. We get to the power to create the new story, the new narrative. If these things are in our background in our program, though, running where I still have a subconscious belief that, okay, in order to be good at something, I need to prove that with my external results. That's always going to get in the way when we don't have a win. Now, you look at, there's actually a recent interview with, I forget his name, one of the famous tennis players, and he was giving a university commencement speech. And he said, just so you know, out of all of these games, all of these shots that I made, only 51% of them I scored points, which means I lost out on 49% of them. And it's more of an understanding, where does it come from? Okay, cool. I learned that from a young age. I learned to, when I did good on a paper, I got an award or participation badge. You're learning, it's through conditioning and learning of like, oh, a good girl, good boy, you perform for this. So we innately know how to tie our results or our worth to external things.
Mm.
But here's where I want to give this mindful perspective on of those of you who have kids, or if you don't have kids, if you have nieces or nephews. When that child is born, when your child was born, were they born and you thought they're not worthy, they're not good, they're limited, they've all, no, you looked at that child and were like, oh my God, like life, like so precious. They're so worthy. You love them unconditionally. And so then I say as a funny joke, okay, well, at what age do they start, like not becoming good enough? But when are they not worthy? Is it two? Terrible twos. I've heard this thing, which again, it's just a made up concept and paradigm. But as you live into that paradigm, it becomes your truth. Because there's a lot of people who have 2 year olds that aren't terrible 2 year olds. And they're like, no, okay, what about the teenagers? The hormonal changes for sure. That's when they not become worthy, right? And they're like, no. And I'm like, huh, so interesting. Your kids are never not worthy or not good enough. So then where did it change for you? What age did you suddenly become not worthy and now I have to prove all your stuff? And when you look at it like that, you're like, well, no shit. All of us have learned to perform or get something external to prove something when it's never been that case. You've always been worthy and enough. Now, the negative feedback is giving you feedback for a reason. But now look at this. That tennis player, if he missed a shot and he hung on that point of like, oh, fuck, see, I'm bad, and he dwelled on it, he wouldn't have been the tennis player he is today. Versus he's like, okay, I understand that's part of the game. I'm not going to win. I'm the best in the world and I'm still not going to win every game, every point. I only win 51% of my points. He understands that. It doesn't mean anything about him. But what great athletes do, what great actors do, what great performers do, what great entrepreneurs do is recognize that the point actually means nothing. It's feedback, it's contrast and clarity to say, huh, okay, I know it's nothing to do with my worth and enoughness. You got to know that though. And most of us don't. And you'll see people achieving great things, but still it's this hamster wheel of performance, success, awards, accolades to try and fill a need, a bucket, a hole that can never be filled from something on the outside. You're never going to feel enough if you think more money is going to do it. Let me ask you, did you feel more enough? Did you feel worthy once you got that? No, it's like next, next, next. So we're just recognizing our patterns where they come from. But going back to shifting that into where did we maybe decide we weren't worthy? And you're like, I didn't consciously choose this. You didn't. But mind made a meaning interpretation saying, okay, I need to prove this in order to actually validate my worth. Now, when I go to an acting audition with that perspective, anything that comes through, so the circumstance, which is neutral, nothing has meaning except the meaning I give it. If you get that and write it down and it's tattooed on your forehead, if you recognize the power of that statement, nothing has any meaning except the meaning I give it. Most of us are choosing old meanings, not our own meanings, limited meanings. How's that working out for us? What am I experiencing? Versus I go into an audition and I have that meaning. I'm not good enough unless I get this. Didn't get it. See, can't do it. Not worthy, not enough. You're not going to show up in your bravado of like, this is who I am. I'm going to fucking give it my all. And if I don't get it, okay, cool. I'm not going to get everything. That's part of the game. You're not going to get every point. You're not going to win every point. You would look at that as feedback, as contrast, as clarity. The entrepreneur who does a launch and hits a certain number, how many people do you witness? Myself included, yourself included. Fuck. I rinsed and repeated it. It was dialed in. What
Right.
the heck? And
It
you make it mean
tanked.
something
It
about,
failed. Yeah.
yeah.
I
And we,
failed. I tanked. Yeah.
exactly. So we take the result, which is neutral, has no meaning except for the meaning I give it, and I'm attaching meaning. Most times it's one of disempowerment, not worthy, not enough. See? And so that's the only way I can experience that story and that result. But if I change my story and my definition and meaning, I get the same result, but I change the experience of it. And that tennis player of looking at like knowing I'm not going to win every point would not get frustrated when he lost a point. Instead, he'd get curious. Okay, interesting. Did I show up in my full power? Did I actually work on the things I said I was going to work on? Did I da 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 da? Oh, I didn't. Okay, cool. You can't get better unless you have contrast. If you're truly going to be great, the greatest of the greats, where you see the vision of where you're going, there's going to be feedback and contrast and clarity your whole road. But how I experience and choose to live in that feedback and contrast greatly changes my experience of it and therefore my results of it. One is like, oh goody, okay, fuck, I really wanted that, but I didn't get it. I wonder why. Can I ask for feedback? Can I ask for its input? I actually recognized maybe they gave me feedback that my accent wasn't, I could work on my accent. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go work with an accent coach on this or work in Joy's program because my audition tape was like really flat or had shitty lighting or something. So it's the same results, but how I'm experiencing that result and what I choose to do with that result moving forward drastically changes. And that's the difference between it's not really for many people what you're doing. Action's important. It's part of this 3D world. The law of action, yes. However, the frequency that I'm in as I'm taking the action, the intention, my beliefs, the definitions, meanings I'm in as I take the action create my results. You can have two actors do the exact same fucking thing. You could be like they crushed it. However, one's in the frequency of doubt, lack, worry, scarcity, fear, da, da. And people pick up on this subconsciously. They pick up on something feels, I don't know what it is, but something feels off. Let me anchor that first because I'm very much like, give me a 3D example of this. We have all walked into a room and just felt like, ooh, something's off. I don't know what, or something's off with this person. I can't put my finger on it. And that's your intuition picking up things subconsciously. Like this is where it's not woo woo, it's the neuroscience of intuition in your field. When you go to write an email, go to do a post, go to apply, go to an audition, people are picking up your intuition, your creative field before you even open your mouth. So if your creative field is like doubt, scarcity, proving, I don't know, even if you crush the audition, they're going to subconsciously pick up on the essence of who you are versus you can flub the audition, but because you're so certain, you don't actually care, you're unattached, you'd be lucky to hire me, whatever it is, they're picking up on that. And that adds to the nuance of the action and strategy we're about to take.
Totally. Yeah, that's such a common thing. You hear people talk about it. It was like they book the one where they'll say things like, "Oh, I didn't even care or I didn't try," and it wasn't that they didn't try. They just weren't as attached to it. There wasn't a desperation of like,
Yes.
"Please pick me," or "I really need
Yeah.
this because if I don't book this gig, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent," or "I
Yeah.
think I'm going to quit because I can't take it from my family telling me give up on the dream."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say it again. I think you said it's not the things that happen to us, it's the meaning that we attach to it.
Yeah. Can I, okay, let me give it's a simplified version of it, but a really quick framework people
Yeah,
can
yeah,
use.
yeah.
I expand this a lot further in the results paradigm thing, but you probably heard me say this before, but it's if you get a piece of paper and you write down A plus B equals C. This is a very simplified version for people to kind of walk away with, right? Of like, give me something to chew on where I can actually experience this. Okay, so A plus B equals C. If you write that on a piece of paper, this makes more sense. A is the circumstance. It's the event. It's neutral. It's like a reporter just stating facts, not, oh, I failed the audition. no, the fact is I didn't get hired. It's a fact. There's no, I mean, it's just like this is the number in my bank account. This is the launch result of this launch, whatever it is. It's just neutral. It's a fact. There's no meaning interpretation. Okay, so that's A, the circumstance. B is you. B is all of our filters, meanings, definitions, interpretations, beliefs, whatever it is. C is our experience of it. So for a lot of people, you are like, okay, Danya, I know my experience. I just did this audition. I felt like shit after. Okay, so that's my experience. Shit, heavy, pressure, ugh, whatever. Don't judge, just write it down. Okay, so write down the experience. And then, okay, from the experience, you most likely have your A. You have to have your A because you can't have an experience without an A. I just finished my audition tape or I just signed up for this thing. Now, where you're going to start uncovering aspects of self, a possible definition or meaning or belief is okay, here's my experience of A. A is neutral. Danya said nothing has any meaning except the meaning I give it. What potential meaning did I give? What could B possibly be that caused me to have an experience of feeling like shit after? Versus if I give it a different meaning, I'm going to have a different experience of it. Why does this matter? A lot of us get so stuck up in our old definitions and meanings and pressure that it affects the next thing we're about to do. And we're just in this nasty ripple effect of domino effect of shit upon shit upon shit. It doesn't have to be that way. So, what I want everyone to do is here's an example I'll use that's not to do with business or acting. You've probably heard this, Joey, where let's say you're driving and someone cuts you off. What's the first thing you're going to say or think or feel? Give me some acting, Joey. I don't want to hear it. Come on.
That son of a bitch. How dare you? Don't you know where I got to get to?
Yes, exactly. Typically, we make it about ourselves.
Right.
Me. Fuck you. Didn't you see me? Oh my God, you suck at driving. You
Right.
drive by them after and you're like, who's
People
this
these
idiot who drives?
days. Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody
So
sucks.
the circumstance is A, I got cut off in traffic. I automatically, based on, again, the negative bias, my primal protection, me, I'm going to be like, fuck you, didn't you see me? Whatever it is. So my experience is what? I'm ramped up. I'm angry. I'm probably going to vent to my friend about this too. It's still impacting the next action I'm about to take. And it's still in my energy and frequency. I'm still riled up, which now you know when I'm riled up in fight or flight, I'm dumber. I don't have access to my creativity, my seeing possibilities, my solutions. So people right now who are like, Danny, but I don't have a bank account. I'm in fear about money. Yes, I'm not doubting or denying your circumstance and your version of reality, but it's not going to help us to have a bit like pressure because you don't actually have access to being like, how can I think of different ways to create money? Or how can I do this? If I'm in fight or flight, I'm losing access to most of my resources to actually change the circumstance I'm in. Okay. So now let's say A is still being cut off on the road. But now let's say I tell you that they're rushing their pregnant wife to the hospital.
Right.
There's maybe a little bit more context to it. You heard this or whatever. Does that change my experience of it slightly? For me, it kind of does. I'm like, oh shit, hope they get there safe and like, oh yeah, get to the hospital. Suddenly it's not about me anymore. What about if I'm like, bee just flew in the car and this person's deathly allergic to bees? Do you think that maybe changes my experience of that same circumstance being cut off? Kinda, yeah. The challenging game becomes I want you to first write down your own B, so your own definition or meaning. Like, if you didn't see me, screw you. What? No judgment, just write it all down. And then ask, what else could this mean? Okay, so I did an audition tape. I didn't get a call back equals I suck. And my whole day's ruined. And I got to go tell my partner again, I didn't fucking get it. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm in fight or flight. Now I'm dumber. And now I can't even access other ideas or possibilities of creating my own lane in this space. Poopy. Okay. What about I didn't get the audition. What else could it mean? Maybe they just haven't actually called anyone back yet. That's a possibility. What else could it mean? Actually, this role isn't aligned for me, and they're actually casting me for a bigger role. Didn't that just happen to you, Joey? You were like gone in for one role, and then you're just like, we want you
Yeah.
more on the screen, so actually come back for this role.
Yeah,
That's a possibility.
there's the idea of thinking you didn't get this because there's something bigger and better for you. Like if you
Hmm.
had booked that, you wouldn't have been available for the next huge thing, which is a great thing,
Totally.
I think. Yeah.
Yes. So notice what we're doing. The circumstance hasn't changed, but my definition, my meaning, my interpretation, which creates my lens of how I'm now going to experience the world, does change. Someone who's in interesting curiosity, it could mean 8,000 different things. Your power comes to what do I choose to make it mean?
Right.
I'm going to choose that, man, I didn't get this because something bigger is coming for me.
If
In that state, How do you feel? You have access to possibility. How can I vibe? Whatever. And
Right.
it's not gaslighting. You're keeping access to the resources that are going to help you change a circumstance and tap into new possibilities.
It also could have meant that they loved you and they actually wanted to book you and a bunch of people fought for you, but they couldn't cast you because they had already cast the kid and the kid didn't look like you. Or the romantic lead, there was too big of a height difference. So they're like, "Ah, he's amazing, but on camera this is going to look crazy because he's 6'7" and she's 5'2".
Although, come on, Chris Bane, is it? No, who played Bane? I don't know actors' names off right now.
Yeah, he's
Bane is so short.
right.
Do you know how the film angles they had to do for
Yeah,
that to
well,
like
yeah,
make him
they
seem like
they
this
do
big
it
ass bad
camera
guy?
tricks and apple boxes that
Yeah,
they stand on. Yeah, they can figure it out.
exactly.
But
Totally. So here's the thing. Why does this matter? It matters because you going to your next audition, you going to your next thing, I don't want you in the state of fear at all. And fear, again, is overthinking, perfectionism, what if this, nothing. I want you to be fully resourced and access to everything available to you, especially if shit's hitting the fan and things go wrong and someone says something. It's like, I don't care. I'm fully in my power so that I'm going to nail this. And if I don't nail it, there's feedback for me, there's contrast, there's clarity. Boom. Okay, next one. All of the greats recognize that you're not going to hit 100% of the shots you take. So it's a understanding of like, this is a game I'm playing, but I want to make sure every audition I go into, I'm fucking crushing. And if I don't land it, no big deal. I'm going to choose to make it mean something that keeps me in my power, keeps me in my physiology of accessibility to creative solutions and ideas versus taking me out. Because that doesn't serve anyone. I'm going to have a pity party. My day's going to be ruined. Okay, cool. Then my experience of life sucks and it's heavy. Versus if I'm going to go through this ABC thing, I'm going to write down 10 different meanings and I'm going to choose the one that keeps me empowered and effective and more so, more importantly, accessible to everything that's going to help me land the next one. So, as a great actor, as a great athlete, as a great entrepreneur, you're looking at it like a scientist mindset. What did this teach me? What did I learn? Okay, here's the numbers, here's the circumstance, it's neutral, it doesn't have any meaning. I'm going to go through my feelings, not gaslight, process whatever's coming through, but then say, okay, cool. Based on this, what do I choose to make it mean? What did I learn? What went well? Why? What didn't? Why? Okay, cool. Take that, move on to it. You would not become the great actor. You would not become the great athlete. You would not become the great entrepreneur in your eyes and how you see it without the contrast. So I want you to begin choosing to see the word failure, which I hate. It doesn't exist in my vocabulary. It's opportunities,
mm,
it's lessons, it's growth. You would not be a great athlete if, like, I played basketball. So if someone burns me and I fall on my butt because I didn't have my center of mass low enough, how do I learn to do that? I got to fall on my butt. Okay, cool. Now I got you next time because I learned to bend my knees more and actually be a better player because of the contrast. So for you, the definition of failure, rejection, redefine it. It's not serving you. Failure to the greats does not exist. It is simply opportunities and lessons of growth. Now, you can choose to see it that way, or you can choose to see it as failure. Well, which one is helping you and serving you? Failure does not exist in most of the greats because they recognize what failure actually is, which is feedback, growth, lessons. Let's go, baby. Let's get better. And you want to try and fail in quotations as many times as you can because you just get greater faster and get to the level you want to better. You see it as the way through, not the way to stop you from moving forward. Your perspective shifts create everything, and it's going to change how you show up in your auditions and where you're going.
this episode has so many mic drops. Thank God we're not actually dropping the mics because our mic budget would
Can
be
you
way
imagine?
through the roof.
Well, and this is
um,
the thing. What I hope most is I know your audience is working their ass off and they have
right.
dreams and ambitions, and it's not, there's nothing wrong with you. You're doing all the right stuff. Let's just filter now, kind of like putting, I don't know, the proper gas in your car. Like if you drive a Lamborghini, you're not going to put unleaded bullshit. No, you're doing all the right things. Now let's just refine what you're doing. Let's expand it. Let's find the blind spots that are holding us back. And it's always to do with this stuff. It's not to do with the action you're taking. What you're going to recognize as you expand your definitions and perceptions is, oh, this actually is not the line to action for me. Actually, it's this. It's something bigger, bolder. But I can't access those if I'm stuck in my same paradigm and same perspective of what life is and what I'm making it mean or how I'm defining it. So you shift this, everything shifts for you. You start showing up differently. You'll see. Just test it, play with it, have fun with it.
Have fun with it. Yes. One thing that I love talking about, and we've talked about on calls, is the idea of operating from future self. Can you just touch on that?
Yeah.
And you touched on a little bit about future memories, But how can actors start showing up now as the version of themselves who is already booking those lead roles that they aspire to?
Yeah. And I love this because what we're doing is accessing what's already here. It's just on a different frequency. And this is a bit of quantum physics. So I'll do it really simple. Because some people are like, this is just acting as if and bullshit. It is. But if I'm acting as if, again, from the frequency of fear, it's not going to, you're not accessing
Right.
it. And most people are like, acting as if, but it's like, I still am in doubt. I'm still improving. And you'll know the energy I'm in. Like, I'm taking this action, but it's one still of like proving or fear. Like, so quantum physics, real quick, is just states that all timelines exist right here, right now. And when you said this to me before, Danya, I learned this. I'm like, what the F does that actually mean? All timelines exist. So like me as a super successful actor also exists right now. Uh-huh. Go look in quantum physics. I'm not here to give a lesson on it. But the way I anchor that is imagine going to the movies and watching a movie. Does that mean all other movies stop playing in the world when you're watching that movie? No. What you're witnessing is where I'm placing my attention and intention, my energy, my focus is what I'm experiencing. That doesn't mean that every other timeline is not existing simultaneously. It's just you're experiencing this version of reality based on your own inner filters, your own world. So if I'm thinking of watching a movie or maybe playing music, when I tune into the radio station of 98.5, I'm experiencing that music because I'm tuned into it. I'm focusing in it. I'm
Mm.
shifting my frequency to match the sound waves to get that sound. Every other music station is still playing. You're just not aware of it. You're not tuned into it. You're not privy to it because I'm not on the frequency of it. Well, you create the frequency, which is fucking cool. So here's your paradigm, and you can recognize this is one radio station. Cool. Like some things, don't like some things. Great. Use the contrast, use the clarity to redefine where you want to go. But now tap into this is something I want to really push on is actually what you want, not what you think you want, not what you should want based on the amount of time, investments, and whatever it is logical, none of that stuff. Like what you actually want without any filter, without pressure of money. What do you want? Because most people say they want something and it's actually not their own. It's still society. It's still what I think the next logical step, get the degree, get the job, da da. No. What do you want? And is it yours or someone else's? Is it because I've just spent this much time building it? I just have to? Or is it really what you want to do? Go back to the first question I asked. So once you're clear on it's your want and your desire, you can now tap into, okay, cool. What would that version of me potentially believe to be true about the things you struggle with? Money, auditions, rejection, failure, uh, whatever it might be, the beliefs of starving artist. So you can start with your own reality of what your current beliefs and stuff might be, and then say, okay, cool. The version of me who already has the lead role, who already has whatever you desire, because that's my own true desire. What would they think of this? How would they see money? How would they see auditions? How would they see XYZ? How do they make decisions? Do they say yes to everything or are they more, do they have boundaries? You're just more tapping into the way of thinking and being that of that version in your current reality. I take people through more of like a visualization to do this. It's because when you can drop in and not have the mind kick in, it's more of like, okay, cool. What would it feel like to actually have that number now? Here's the thing with most, do I go here? With most manifestations, which ironically, manifestation doesn't even exist. I know that's going to be a curveball. I'm not going to go in there right now, but it's more, come ask the question later. But what a manifestation is a thought into a thing. So experiencing your current reality. Yes. Okay. Most times we think we want the thing for the thing, but actually we want the feeling of the thing. Your superpower, knowing that your brain doesn't know what's real or not real, is creating the feeling now. How would it feel to be a lead actor in that dream movie? Like imagine you're there now, trick your mind, make your mind believe it by getting all your senses involved. Showing up to set on that day, the script, who you're working with, the actors, the sensing, the feeling, the smells, the everything. Get your senses involved with it and tap into that version of you who's already doing that. And if you're like, I can't, then imagine what it would be like to be a certain actor in that space and trick your mind. And when you're in that frequency of like, okay, feeling like it is that right now, what do they think? How would they see the situation I'm in right now? What are their beliefs about this stuff? What did they do or not do? What did they start doing or stop doing? And you start accessing, expanding your experience and your consciousness in that way of thinking and being. And then the trick is for you to embody that as much as you can during your day now. And this could be something simple like, Oh, the version of me who is a $10 million a year entrepreneur. How is she drinking her tea right now? Oh, she's maybe a little funny. Maybe she's a bit more relaxed. It doesn't matter what it is, but you're trying to create the lived experience in your body every single moment of every day. Now, really quick here, this is not political, but who wins the election? Someone who gets 100% of the votes or the majority? Majority, right? So again, I say that because a lot of people are like, yeah, but I'm not doing 100% of the time. It doesn't matter. Every time you cast your vote into like that way of being, before you're going to make a decision, can you tap into what would that version of me think? They even do this? This isn't even on their plate. They wouldn't do it, or they do it differently. Okay, I just had this moment, this circumstance. How would they see it? You're trying to tap into, not trying to, you are tapping into the embodiment, the way of being, the feeling of that version of you now throughout your day. Do it with small things, do it with bigger things. What you're going to notice is as you change your way of being and thinking, your actions typically change, your results start changing because you're accessing the frequency of it already being done now. Helpful? And we could expand into it, but I
So
think just to,
helpful. Yeah, that's such, I mean, that's a mind-blowing thing for people. And you can do it all day long where you're just like, well, what would the version of me who I want to be, how would they be, how are they being in this situation? That be do have model. And
yep.
you know this, I applied this to I was recently in Dubai, and it was a trip that that wasn't planned.
Yeah.
And here's a fun fact for all our listeners: just ask yourself WWDDHD.
Was that so funny?
WWDDHD. That means what would Danya Douglas Hunt do? And like your future self, your highest self. And it's just that's so empowering because you can get
Mhm.
lost in the minutia, you get lost in your current circumstances, and you get all frazzled, and you make shitty
Yeah.
decisions that are leading you away from who you want to be, instead of thinking, no, who's the person who I want to be, what are they doing in this situation? That's so helpful.
And
That
it's really also tying into you can do this, and a lot of people do it for a while and they fall off. And then that's when you can go deeper into like rewiring. Like, what is the belief that's still causing me to go into fear, even though I
right.
know this consciously? So then you can dive deeper on that. And that's what people hire me. It's like, I'm doing well, but I want to refine. There's always that 1% edge. But it's true. You just, most of us just go in our day to day, and it's like logic, repeating from paradigms. Again, think about your outside reality as just old chewing gum. It's not dictating the future. It's just literally a representation of what was. So if I want a different way of thinking, I gotta, how do I help myself get there? I have some tricks now I can do myself and consciously, like truly ask yourself how, okay, there's a couple of things Danny talked about, exercises here. What can I do to set myself up for success to embody this and change this? Set an alarm, set a sticky note before you make a decision. Check in with yourself. What is this version that I would do? Or is it still operating in fear? Can I change the frequency of it before I take the action? Can I shift it before I do the thing so that I'm not just getting the same results on repeat or just like a little bit better, but not the quantum leaps I know are possible? And this is where the embodiment of everything we're talking about comes into play, which is possible, absolutely. But just like with you and actors, like every great athlete, actor has coaches to support them on this. This is why people are like, show me my blind spot. Where am I going? I'm speaking. What's my frequency and how am I doing that? This is where you dive into things like James's program to expand your business, your program to expand your auditions and actually landing the roles you want, working with me to actually recognize you're operating this frequency. Let's shift that. So you're not just doing so much work for the sake of doing work versus streamlining and doing the most effective work. Um, but it is take away what we talked about in this podcast in the sense of you can change a lot of it, especially your experience of things. Even if you take the same actions, if you change the meaning experience of it, watch how everything else starts changing around you because you're looking at it through a new lens, a new perspective.
Another mic drop. I want to thank you so much, Danya, for taking the time. You've been super generous. I know we've gone way over time than what we
Okay, I'm so
originally
glad.
planned. Um, and I know our listeners, I knew this was going to be like a game changer for people. It's definitely it's a different episode, but I think it's going to be our most downloaded, most listened to. And I think I'm going to get the most DMs about like, thank you for doing that episode, because all the training in the world, all the 3D stuff, it's great, but if all of this in your head is is messed up, it's very hard to succeed. So thank you for that. I
No
do feel
problem.
like you're one of my secret weapons in my life to have access to your brilliance, your podcasts, um, go listen to the Play Bigger podcast. Where can people connect with you? Where do you want people to connect with you? What do you got going on? What's next steps for people who are like, oh my God, I love Danya Douglas Hunt. Thank you for introducing me to her. Uh, how do I find her?
Cool. I love this. And I so appreciate being here because there's nothing that lights me up more than people actually following their soul pull and having an experience of life where it gets to be fun and playful and easy and like abundant as fuck and truly living life on your terms. So it's a privilege to be here because this is why I get to do the work I get to do. You can find me on Instagram at Danya Douglas Hunt. You can find my website there too, although it's probably not updated. So just go to Instagram. My podcast dives a lot into this stuff too. So Play Bigger with Danya. And right now, yeah, the money frequency stuff is going out. So there's a quiz out right now. There's certain programs that will be released. Most updates will happen on Instagram. And where I want to leave people with is just really tapping into the belief of how would you truly show up? Like truly, truly show up if you knew your success was inevitable. In the sense of whatever is in your path right now is actually helping you align to that path easier, better, more effectively. It's actually whatever circumstance you're in is setting you up for your desired outline and path. Notice if there's any wavering in like doubt or whatever, and how can you find evidence for the narrative? You're going to get where you want to get to. Just going to be a matter of time. So, can we maybe release the stress or the break or the friction or the pressure on this exact moment? You know where you're going. And if you don't, great, start recognizing where I want to go. But what does the energy of certainty feel like to you? What is the energy of it's inevitable, just a matter of time? And the more I fine tune this, the faster or easier I get there. You have the power to do that, even just in your day. What does it feel like to walk around like, I already know I'm going to be a best-selling author. I already know I'm a world-class speaker on stage. How does that version of me show up now? The energy of it. And as you in the energy of certainty, of inevitability, of man, this used to be fun. Life's a game. Let's fuck around and find out and like try different things and be a buffet and be this curious scientist mindset. Watch how different life becomes to you. And then also watch how different the results, the people, things that are mirroring back to you also occur as well. Everything changes. But first, you got to change the inside.
Before I let you go here, you do such an incredible job. You're such a gift to the world, lifting people up and changing their lives in all ways. And you talk about playing bigger, but I want to flip the script on you. What's the next play bigger move for Danya Douglas Hunt? I want to manifest something here for you. Where are you holding
Stages.
back? Where could you be bigger? What's the next big, hairy, scary thing for you?
Yeah. So essentially doing what I'm doing on a much bigger scale. It is more events, more keynotes, my own events, but also collaborating with other people's events. Like I love when people ask me to come and go into their mastermind and we do a 2 day intensive. So it's just that on a bigger scale, which part of the improv for me earlier was like, okay, cool. Where is my edge? Where am I potentially holding back or not thinking differently? And improv, as I shared with Joy before, I'm like a sports girl. I avoided drama and theater in high school. I was like science and sports. When you put me on a stage back then, I was like dripping in sweat and freaking the fuck out. So I was like, okay, Danya, what could help with that? What could get me beyond a comfort zone? And so I signed up for improv within a couple days, loved it, so fun, wasn't nervous. Also, because of recognizing what I'm doing it for. It's like, what are some skill sets to help me expand to that world class keynote speaker on stage on a bigger scale? So for me now it's aligning my actions to okay, is it speaking, is it speaking program school, is it working with different coaches that show me, because I know, look, I speak fast. It's not helpful though. It's like slowing this down. But the vision is yes, working with more high level entrepreneurs in their masterminds, in their events, speaking on stages, my own events, best-selling author, yes. And now it's just taking the right steps to align to where that's going and uncovering any of the shit that's holding me back, any fear, any worry, any doubt. Like I do this stuff all the time. I'm like, where am I playing smaller? How can I play bigger? What's actually my new paradigm versus my old paradigm? It gets constantly shifting over time to align with that vision of coming to my events, which maybe, not maybe, choosing a date to figure out when I'm going to run my live event. Here's the one caveat to that, though, is figuring out where I'm going to be in the world. Your girl's traveling a lot. So setting things in place,
May-
I'm like, okay, where am I going to be? How can I? But yeah,
Maybe, yeah,
it's that.
maybe it needs to be a virtual event. so that people can
Yeah,
be
I've
their
done lots of
vulnerable.
those, but I love in person, man. I
Right.
love like the deep transformational stuff of like 2 or 3 day intensive, whether it's a group of 20 entrepreneurs or whoever. Let's just dive deep, clear shit, leave the event complete transformed, networking, hot seat. Like it's all those juicy things that I think cause, not I think, I know cause and create transformation. So it's that. Watch
And
the space. It'll
and
happen.
so it is done. It's already done, as you know,
It is.
quantum
Yeah.
physics. Thank you so much. It has been my pleasure. Any chance I get to shout the name Danya Douglas Hunt from a mountaintop so that more people find you, go
Thank
follow
you.
Danya, go listen to her podcast, learn from her, get into her programs. It'll change your life. I can vouch for that. And if you are a professional actor, or maybe you're an emerging actor in TV and film, maybe you're a director, a casting director, a producer, if you're making bold moves in the industry, you're an industry pro at any stage of your journey, I would love to talk to you. You can come on the podcast, share your practical tips, wisdom, inspiration. You can apply to be a guest at insidetheaudition.com. And remember that mastering powerful monologues is the most effective way to showcase your talent so that you can attract audiences, attract agents, casting directors, and land your next lead role. And you can get started today with the Monologue of the Month Club at monologueclub.com, because every audition is an opportunity to showcase your true talent to the world. You can land your next life changing role. If you want to get some professional coaching 7 days a week from anywhere in the world, you can go to actorsauditionclub.com. We'll happily help you shoot a standout audition in less time so that you can book that next lead role. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Again, I think this is my favorite episode. We're going to have Danya back for episode part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. We'll see you next time on Inside the Audition.
Thanks so much for having me.